Hi, chemistry students. Welcome to my kitchen. I'm going to introduce you to the concept of concentration by making Kool-Aid. I'm no expert on Kool-Aid. In fact, I had to look up a recipe from some lady on the internet, and some lady on the internet told me that 3/4 of a cup of sugar is the best amount for a 2-liter bottle of Kool-Aid. So I'm just going to trust her on that. So here we go, we've got 2, and I'm not going to just do the cups. I'm going to actually use my trusty kitchen scale to figure out how many grams that is. So if I put, this is a 1/4 cup of sugar, and then we got a 1/2 cup of sugar, and we end up with 170 grams of sugar. 170 grams of sugar is kind of an annoying number. So I'm going to just make it 200 grams of sugar because, I mean, 3/4 of a cup is, arbitrary anyway. So I'm going to make it a nice round number. It's going to be 200 grams of sugar. So that means we're going to add a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. Oh, come on. 200. There we go. 200 right out. I'd love to show you, but I don't want to move it. So, okay, so here we've got 200 grams of sugar. It's kind of heavy. It's a lot of sugar, actually. I mean, when you really think about it. Okay, so lots of sugar. And now that means that this sugar needs to go into this thing, into this 2-liter thing. That is a lot of sugar. Like a lot of sugar. Anyway, you were able to dissolve more sugar than that into your sugar water. Okay, and then just to make it look like Kool-Aid, because of course I don't have any Kool-Aid at home, so I'll just add a little bit of red food coloring so we can actually see what's going on here. There we go. Now we've got Kool-Aid. Done. All right. I'm gonna add water up so it's 2 liters of water. Okay, I think we've got it dissolved, and you can tell it's dissolved because we can see through it. Remember, we're saying that if something is clear, that it is a solution, and we've gotten all the sugar to dissolve. We don't have any sitting at the bottom of the bottle. There's no sugar crystals down at the bottom. It's all dissolved into the water. Took a little bit of time, but we've got it done. Okay, so now I have 2 liters of Kool-Aid, which is 2 liters of water, and I have 200 grams of sugar that I've dissolved into this bottle. Okay, so to understand concentration, we got to think about a couple things. So this bottle is Kool-Aid, according to the lady on the internet's best recipe. And now concentration is not just a measure of how much there is. It tells you the ratio. And let me show you what that means and why it matters. Because I could say, well, there's 200 grams of sugar in here. But really, what I care about with Kool-Aid is how it tastes. And so when I pour this Kool-Aid into this container, where's my little line? There we go. I'm going to get 200 milliliters. Let me just show you that. 200 milliliters of Kool-Aid into this glass. And now you could say, well, this has so much less sugar in it, right? Now let's just think about that for a second. Which one has less Kool-Aid? Of course, this has only 200 milliliters or 0.2 liters of Kool-Aid here. This has, well, a little less than 2 liters. And this definitely has less sugar in it than this has total sugar in it. And we'll do those calculations in a second. But what I want you to think about is this has a lot less sugar in it. So you'd be like, well, it has less sugar on it. It should taste different. But you all know that it doesn't taste different. I mean, this should taste the same. If I drank out of this, well, that is a good recipe. Okay, it should taste the same. Well, that's pretty good. Yeah. So they taste exactly the same because they have the same concentration. So if I know the ratio of the sugar and the water, I can make just a glass of Kool-Aid. I wouldn't have to make an entire 2 liters worth. If I'm like, no, I just want 1 glass, I can make one of those without having to make the whole thing. I can make any amount and it would taste the same. I could make an entire bathtub worth of Kool-Aid. If I knew the volume, I could figure out how much sugar I would have to add. And that's that ratio that determines your concentration. So, okay. So let's say that we just wanted to make this 1 glass of Kool-Aid just for myself. I don't want to mix up a whole 2 liter batch for anybody else. I just want this 1 glass. How much sugar should I put in here to make 200 milliliters of Kool-Aid? Just this 1 glass. We want it to be the same concentration. We want it to be just as sweet as this one, but just a smaller amount. So I've got 2 liters of water here, and it was 200 grams of sugar. I put 200 grams of sugar in 2 liters of water, and if I have 200 milliliters in this glass, how many grams of sugar should I measure out to put into this glass? And I'll let you think about it. Okay, hopefully you got the answer. So if I want to make just this 1 glass, 200 milliliters of Kool-Aid, I'm going to need 20 grams of sugar. And so let's just do that just for the sake of doing it, just so you can kind of see how it looks. So 20 grams of sugar is going to be, let's see, that's 10, 11, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 19, 19, 20. There, 21, crap, 20, good. 20 grams of sugar right in here. And so you can see that's quite a bit. I'm going to put that in this glass. And then like before, I'm going to put a little bit of food coloring so you can actually see. Hopefully I don't make it too dark. And then we're going to put a little bit of water in here. In fact, I have a little glass here. We're going to put 200 milliliters right here into here. Hopefully it's not over because of the sugar. And then the problem is we do have to stir it. There's my big stir. There we go. Okay, got it finally to dissolve. So no little swirling crystals down at the bottom. So that means my concentration, my ratio of sugar to water should be the same in this and in that. And let's just see if they taste the same. Ah, they do. They do. They do. Yep, and you can try this one at home. So now that we have these 2 solutions that have the same concentration, I've made this one, I've made this one by measuring out both the water and the sugar. I know how much sugar is in here, I know how much water is in here, I know how much sugar is in here, and I know how much water is in here. And I know the concentration of both of them, and both of them have the same concentration. They taste the same even. So how do I make one of them more concentrated than the other? And the way I can do that, there's 2 ways I can do it, but let's just go with the first easy way. I can just add more solute, which is adding more sugar. The solute in this case is the sugar. And so I can add 10 more grams of sugar. Close. There we go. Almost. 10 more grams of sugar. It's going to be 50% more strong. 50% more concentrated. There we go. 50% more concentrated Kool-Aid here. It's going to take a while to dissolve that. I got extra sugar in there. So now I've got, this one is more concentrated than that one. And if I test it, it should taste a lot sweeter. And it does. Oh, golly. That's a toothache waiting to happen right there. So this one is more concentrated than that one because I added sugar. Is there any way I can take this one and make it more concentrated without adding sugar. It's weird, I know this, but I could just take this bottle, leave it open like it is, and just let it sit out for a while, and eventually this water will evaporate away and there'll be less water, and as the water evaporates away, the sugar stays in there. So I've reduced the total volume of solvent, but I have not reduced the solute, so the ratio gets higher of solute to solvent. I'll show you the math there. But that's another way I can make this be the same high concentration as this. If I let it evaporate away, that will make it more concentrated, like this one. Okay, so we talked about how we could make it more concentrated. So let's talk about how we can make it less concentrated, or we're going to dilute it. Instead of concentrating it, we are going to dilute it. So we had the same original solution. It had 200 grams of sugar in 2 liters of water. If I want to make it more diluted, I can take 100 milliliters of my original solution, make a big mess, that's my plan. 100 milliliters of my original solution. There we go. That is 100 milliliters. And I'm going to put that in this cup. So that is 100 milliliters of that. And then I'm going to take 100 milliliters of water. There we go. 100 milliliters of water. Put that in the cup. And I should have a total of 200 milliliters of water. But now, how much sugar is in here? I'll let you figure that out. It should be half as strong. So it is diluted 2 times, and it should be half as concentrated. So it should taste less sugary. And it does. It's like, yeah, that's pretty good. And you can also see that the color, even the red coloring, got diluted. So you can see it is clearly less concentrated.